Hey y'all, this is Artsy Wisdom. My name's Diane. Thank you for coming by. It is later on Tuesday, busy day here. Canada had its election yesterday, so somebody had asked me about Mark Carney and Trump and how they were going to move forward together and how this would work in Canada-US relations. And so I looked into that. Very, very interesting. Who is going to come out on top? Very fascinating. And I also, just FYI, I thank you to all my new subscribers. Those of you who come by regularly, those of you who leave comments, and I thank you. I love that. I really appreciate it. You guys, it means a lot to me. And I am working on my microphone. I feel like I get it figured out, and then bam, I don't know. I think I talk quietly. That's the problem. And then Mark Carney, Trump, and then New World Banking Order. Somebody had asked about the reconstruction of the whole kind of world order globally. So I looked into that. It's very complex. Justice Roberts, someone asked me about him, and I found he's just a funny dude. When I get into looking at him, he feels traditional, but he's also very complex. So I got into his energy. I saw what he's doing and not doing and how he feels about Trump and SCOTUS and what's happening there. And I'll tell you about that. Now, those of you who haven't been here before, I do readings where I use astrology, I use tarot cards. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I'm an intuitive. I'm also an artist, but I use all those tools, combine them, and I sometimes channel old souls, people that have passed on, some live ones too, but mostly they're people that have passed on. And I just happened to go into the 60s and 70s. Somebody had asked me about George Carlin, who I loved. Growing up, he was always on TV. And I got into his energy. Just so fascinating, these different souls, how they are. Well, meanwhile, I'm there, and Freddie Prinze happens to pop in. I see his mustache, and he's there. I'll tell you what I see or, discuss with him. Then Bruce Lee, very, very interesting. And I was surprised. That's kind of a surprise thing that I didn't know anything about. And his son Brandon was nearby, but just a little bit thing. And then I take notes because I meditate, and then I come and I tell you guys all the stuff that I hear. Or all the stuff that I see. Talking kind of fast. I'll slow down. All right, you guys, let's get started. I wanted to thank you all. I did that video last time on Virginia Giuffre and her sad life. Mostly all your comments were just very, very understanding and empathetic and sympathetic, and it's a hard subject. So I really appreciate you, responding to that video. It means a lot. And also, I forgot to mention, I do personal stuff, readings, and coaching and hypnotherapy. I do it remotely, and there's a link in my box to schedule that if you're interested. Okay, I'm going to start with Mr. Carney. Yes, so he didn't get enough to get a liberal majority. He got a liberal minority. So they have to work together with the conservatives, because I think they got, if you look at the map, it's like so conservative on the west. So Canada's all west, except for maybe Vancouver is liberal or NDP. So it's very conservative. So, but anyway, he's got to work with all the different caucuses. They do a cooperative kind of thing, and so they have to make deals with each other to make it happen. So I got into his energy first. I did my people first, and I got into his energy like I was telling you about the souls that have passed on. Now he's alive, Mark Carney, but I'm immediately I've got spreadsheets, I've got data, I've got papers in front of me. And he's very logical and, I want to say quiet, but smooth sailing. Nothing wild about him. He may be tired. Sometimes when I'm in people's energy, I think it's right then and there. And so whatever they're looking at or doing in that moment is what I'm sensing. I feel like he's a little tired from yesterday. But beyond his table or desk or these paperworks or these spreadsheets, he's very, like I said, analytical. I have to refer to these. he knows that the relationship with the US is not just about data and spreadsheets and analyzing stuff, but that's part of it because he is a financial guy. He used to be the head of Bank of England during Brexit, and then Canada for when we had the 2008 big blow up. But anyway, so he feels like he knows that beyond that paperwork and the numbers is like a literal physical confrontation. It's tangible, it's real, it's not just talk. He knows that's a real thing, and he's prepared. I think he's psyched up. I feel like he's ready to deal with whatever comes along. And he feels very sure he's going to be very fierce as he protects Canada's sovereignty, Canada's all the resources that it has, so nobody can take it, and also boundaries, right? I feel like it will be a little bit bad for Canadians because Canada has this giant monster below you, just 10 times the size. So it's a usual trading partner. Now you don't have that, or it's very limited. So that's a problem. But Canadians will, unfortunately, there'll be some cutbacks here and there. There'll be some supply chain issues. There'll be some businesses that won't be producing things that they normally would because they're not sending them to the U.S. He's saying the deal would have to work out well for Canada to agree to. So he's not going to agree to anything that isn't good for Canada. I do feel like there's some negotiation happening, or will happen, and he will, modify some of the expectations. Like for him in Canada, he's going to have a lot of trouble with the Conservatives in the West. Danielle Smith is a provincial premier? Provincial premier? I think is what her title is. It's like a governor. And she's a Conservative, and I think she's going to give him a hard time. So I feel like there's new struggles ahead within the country between parties. And I saw him, it's a funny thing, because normally I see people as food, but I saw him as a domino. And like the little black tiles, domino tiles, it's black with white, not white with black with white dots. Riddle me that, Batman. I have no idea. And it's got like, very specifically, 5 dots on the top and 3 on the bottom. Perhaps I just came to you just now, this is an idea of the amount, the 5 is on the top, they're going to get more, and then the U.S. will have 3 in the number. But there's an 8 total, so it'll work out, because 8 is a good number. 8 is a really lucky, expansive number. I don't know, maybe. But he knows that the U.S. is quite big to negotiate with, complex. And he sees, when I'm in his energy, I'm looking to the U.S., he sees all of these administrative people like him. He's logical, data-driven, spreadsheets, numbers. He's speaking to this administration and the Trump people, and it's all just like a mishmash of just hither and yon. Everything is, he talks to one group and they don't know what the other one's saying, and he or maybe people in his staff talk to this one and they don't know what they're doing. So he's very annoyed and frustrated with that. Can't quite get through the layers. He's saying there's a lot of layers of uninformed staff. The uninformed was really important. I forgot about that. He sees Trump as a small man, like diminutive. I see from his perspective, he sees Trump as little. And it's funny because Xi Jinping, yesterday or whenever I did that other video, he saw Trump as this very young, very handsome man, but different, like immature, youthful, but didn't know what he was doing. Like China is very wise, is what he was saying. But this is different. Carney is getting more leverage and power. I see him only doing it as time passes because there's uninformed staff, uninformed administration. They're all higgledy-piggledy and all over. He feels like he's gaining leverage and power. I feel like the energy or the color, which is kind of a beigey brown kind of, I don't know what even that means, but it feels like it's solid and not weak. It feels like it's more dominant, and it's only 1/10 of the size of the States, but Canada has so many resources. He pushes Trump back hard, and Carney, I don't know why, but Trump holds out his hand and Carney slaps it. So there is maybe a confrontation, or they have a discussion that is not going to go well. And Trump tries to reach to the border, and Carney slaps his hand. Can't even get close. So meaning what I was thinking about in that moment, like, is he going to, cross the border and take over? No, that's not happening. He slapped his hand. And this was also very interesting. So I know in Michigan and Ontario and Windsor and all that, there's all that back and forth with cars and autos. Some parts are made here, put in a car over here, the car comes back, something is added, it's back and forth, back and forth. And I know Trump today talked about softening or removing some of these very restrictive tariffs or something today. So the automakers really convinced him, I think, to do something to, make it easier for them. He's keeping in something, and I can't remember the term, some sort of fee or something. I can't remember. But when I'm looking at Carney, looking at the auto industry in Michigan and over the border, it is so messy. It's like, it's the same. Maybe it's just his, because he's very logical and analytical. Every time he looks at something, it seems like it's messy and all screwed up. It's not in rows. But he looks at the auto industry and he sees it as dark and multiple, not dark in negative, bad, evil way or anything. It's just dark and not cleaned up and unorganized. And I was put in mind of a pecan pie. You know how all the pecans on top, like somebody had gone into the pie and just, like an animal, didn't eat it, but it just smushed it all around. That is what I imagine he's feeling or seeing. And it's like the whole thing is a mess. So he's, I think, in general, going to be frustrated with the Trump administration and trying to manage the country, maintain the supplies, auto shipments and everything as best he can, and within fighting, and also fighting within his country with the conservatives. I did see that the wood and the maple syrup, I saw the wood timbers falling over the border, so I feel like they're gonna bring that back. That won't be as big of an issue as it once was, because he said, we have our own lumber, but there's something about the industry, the lumber industry, and syrup is they're not gonna put a tariff on syrup, or they're going to allow the syrup to come, I guess. And I saw those two things. And then the auto industry is that big mess. And that's all I could tell right now. But that's just right now. I feel like nobody is winning at the moment, but Trump believes he is. Trump, in his mind's eye, he feels, yeah, I got this. He thinks that everything's fine. I haven't even talked about the polls recently. They've been on big media. They've been talking about these polls and how bad he's doing. And I don't know if it is bad. I'm not disagreeing with it, but I don't know if that affects, I feel like that's just a temporary thing and it's not swaying too many people. And that's what I'm looking for. I want people to be swayed and take action, and I saw that. I told you by animals. Oh, and the other thing, I didn't mention this. I feel like Canada, I forgot about this. Canada is going to hold on to the oil and other resources. I'm in Canada right now. They have natural resources that the U.S. needs. So that's some leverage that Carney's going to use. The oil and some resources, natural resources, minerals or something like that. I don't know how long it'll last, but that's what I see. This new world global order, with wealthy people in charge and all this other peons, just with our hands out and asking more, Master, more porridge or more, whatever it is. I think it's going to stick in some version. It won't be like it is now, but some type of version, because we can't go back 100% the way we were, because time, change, laws, the spiritual law or the nature's law of change. It's just how it is. Things generally must expand and progress. It's just people in charge of that and how they want the progression and who gets the money from it. I did sense there was this big, I didn't, I don't know what this is. And I don't know how, I feel like it reminds me of COVID, but I don't feel it's a pandemic per se, but there is a big thing that is not good. And that's today. Free will can change everything. Remember? That's how I'm feeling right in this moment. So there could be something that gets transformed before anything happens. But there is I put the words big clunk stop. Like COVID made everything just stop on a dime. We're just like, bam. But I also saw, and I don't know if this is banking people stealing or hiding stuff. It is about money or the economies or some sort of, I want to say, connective tissue between all the different countries. Isn't that funny? But I did see, it felt like it was very bad. Bad for some people, really bad. They're going to get caught. It'll affect a lot of people, though. And they will get caught doing it, and it's really bad. I felt this really sense of bad. But I'm not trying to scare you in any way, and this doesn't feel like soon or anything. It just feels like a combination of things combined to create a situation where there's no oversight and something bad happens. I just had a thought about some environmental thing. Maybe it's something like that. Because they're letting go of all the climate change people, all the lawyers, all the oversight people. Yeah, and they're digging or drilling for oil in all these places that are sanctuaries. I think it might be something, not specifically water and sanctuaries, but something like a big thing. Not Exxon Valdez. I think even something that affects a lot of people. Like I said, COVID. Sorry, I don't know what that is. And it's not like soon, but maybe it'll change. Now, let's look at Mr. John Roberts, the SCOTUS Senior Justice, or what's he called? Justice Supreme? Like Jack in the Box? Taco Supreme? Supreme Court Justice. I got it. Chief Justice John Roberts. So I'd never seen him in a bow tie, ever. But I saw him in a bow tie. But also people that wear bow ties are guys, I feel like they're more conservative, old-fashioned. I think that's what that was about. He is talking a lot. And he doesn't want to be involved with certain people. He's hiding from all this talking. He's like, I see him on a hallway and he's peeking his head around. He doesn't want to be seen. He's avoiding. And that's the whole theme of what I see and feel with him. A lot of avoidance. A lot. He does wish, and I see him hiding in rooms behind books, like he's reading and he's kind of looking over the book like, oh. He wishes Trump would be more democratic. He really wants him to be more democratic. He wants that so bad. He wants him to follow the rules so Supreme Court doesn't have to keep making these big decisions. And I don't know why. He just doesn't like it. He doesn't want to have to do it. The reason, I think, is because he leans that way. He leans very conservative, and he leans where they fudge the law just enough to give immunity to, the president, and if they ever do anything really big, because it's really important. So I feel like he wants to do that. He wants to help Trump. And I didn't think he would do that, but I feel like he wants to help him. But he really wants him to be better, more democratic. And I said he was very cerebral, and on occasion, I said, and yet on occasion, he will find his inner gonads, or I guess they are inner, and he's going to vote alongside many of these women, like Amy Coney Barrett, Sonia Sotomayor, Justice Kagan, and Brown Jackson. I feel like he is going to lean with, there's going to be some new a few little things, but he's definitely on the Federalist Society. I feel like he's definitely part of that whole conservative world. He wants to stay in that job, even though I feel like he's at the age where he can retire, but I feel like he doesn't want to leave it. He does a lot what he's told. Sad. So he wants to give him what he wants in the appeals part of it. He really wants him to be successful, but it usually happens in the appeals time. And I also saw, I don't know if it's one woman, several women in his family are really not happy with him. I don't know who that is. I imagine all of his family would be conservative, but Justice Roberts. But there's some women in there that are not happy with him, and they're angry with him quite often. I don't know if it's his wife or somebody. And he rationalizes these decisions. And for being so cerebral, analytical, he rationalizes. Then I'm sitting at the dais or their whatever this is called, wherever they all sit. He's throwing a yo-yo out. It's coming back, and he's shooting out the yo-yo, and he's coming back. It's almost like, it's not a game. It's like he is very fickle. He sends out a decision and it comes back. Sends out a decision and comes back. He's avoiding. He really doesn't want to be on the deciding, factor of any of these big things. But he's on the Supreme Court. He's the Chief Justice. But that's the feeling I got. He just... I could be wrong. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the feeling I got. He is definitely leaning towards Trump. He wants him to be better, though. He doesn't want to have to keep doing this, but he doesn't have much choice because he feels like he has to follow the rules that these conservative people that are put, on him to make the decisions for them. All right, some interesting things. These are my little soul mediumship journeys. So I'm going to start with George Carlin because that's where I started. He was at the beginning of the line. Immediately, I am so busy. He is, some of these souls are just like, meh, they're just living. They've passed on. They're incarnated into another body, what they were learning, or they're angry or whatever. He is busy. He is very active. And he barely wants to even visit with me. He's like, I got stuff to do. I'm busy. He's like, on his tables running around doing stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? He doesn't want to be bothered. He said, and then I see him. It's like he's doing a switchboard, the old fashioned switchboard, and he's doing this and putting the things. And it's like an old movie where everything moves really fast and there's a switchboard. So active. So I asked him, what's going on? He said, I'm still busy fighting on my end. And I was like, so he feels responsible. That's what I got. He's like, he feels responsible in this time, in the political, weather we have right now. He is helping on the other side. And I was like, well, what are you doing? I pictured him making posters and stuff too. That was part of the busyness. He said, I'm offering up ideas and energies to fill the airwaves. And I was like, airwaves? And he's saying the planes, meaning the energetic planes that we all get inspiration from. Energy. I picture this. This is some of my paintings are the energetic, just colors that move and glide around. So I'm picturing that. And he's kind of putting his inspiration in those energetic planes around the earth and around people, those comedians, people who are in power, leaders, people who make decisions, just regular Joes like us. He's doing that. He's really putting forth and doing what he can on the other end to help. And he feels responsible, he said. And, I saw, before I even started, I saw him as a bowl of granola, but not bad granola, not that sweet kind. Really good quality, homemade granola, like coconut, nuts, oats, maybe a little honey, something you cook in the oven that gets crispy. That's the kind of granola he is. But it's crumbly. It's not chunky. I don't know why. Go figure. But he feels responsible. He said it was part of my soul deal. He left when he passed on because it's been many, many years. But he went up. He did ascend. But he's returned into our plane that's around us on Earth to help this fight. So he said it was part of my soul contract. I haven't had this before, this particular version of people passing on and coming back in this way. He's not incarnating into a body or anything. He came back to help man. So I have a few what do you call curse words? Just a lot, you know. He said to fight racism and fascist shit. He said lots like me are helping. That's what he's doing here. He's to fight racism and fascist shit. That's his part of what he said. He just super energetic. It's like if you go into a what do you call a campaign headquarters and all the volunteers are there doing stuff on phones and that's the energy I have. Is that he's doing that. He's lots like me are helping. He said, I can help with laughter and voice of the unknown. He's helping to give voice to those who aren't normally in leadership, those who aren't normally involved. He's trying to help them, like people maybe protest or say whatever they're feeling or worried about. He's trying to help that. So he's, he was always very confrontational and funny. So I think he's trying to pivot. The word pivot comes to mind. I don't know why. He's trying to pivot and help people do that, where they can speak, have their voice, get confidence. He said, I can help, voice unknown, regular Joes. And he said, it will help motivate them. And he's saying he wants to get rid of the lying, cheating bastards. And he's saying, throw rocks, do it all. He's like, throw everything at it. Nothing's wrong. Well, maybe not shooting people or being violent, but he's like, do everything, fight. He's like, Trump is a fascist pig. That's what he says. And an asshole. He is destroying what is good about us or the US. He said, although it was not perfect. And he said, people were honest. And he's saying that, but he's giving me a wink and a smile like he knows that's not true. But it's what we want it to be, I guess. It's so funny. And I'm picturing Nixon. And maybe he's referring to that. Anyway. Yeah. So, and I asked him about, when do you think it's going to get better or anything? I don't know, but he said, I felt 1.5 to 2 years, and I know that's a long time, but that's right around the midterms. But I feel like he's saying there's going to be a lot of fighting up until then, and it's going to grow. And he's very, 60s vibe, fighting against the Vietnam War feeling. That's the feeling I have. Very cool. But he is so energetic. I have never... there's one other person that was so chatty. Oh, Tupac. But he was more chatty. He wasn't like this. All right. So then I see a smiling guy with a mustache. And it's Freddie Prinze Sr., the one who, died many years ago. He wants his family to know how happy he is. He is friends with Carlin up there. They are hanging out. I don't know if they were friends in real life. No idea. But he is hanging out with him. And I don't know, but I feel like he's saying that when he was alive, his family was concerned or he was not happy. And he wants them to know how happy and content he is, how at peace he is, because they have a memory of him like he was, but it's not like that on the other side. He's very happy and joyful, and he's seen all the beauty there is beyond this plane, and he is quite happy. So he wants, I don't know, I'm going to say it out loud. I don't know if you guys know him, but tell them. He feels immense contentment. That's the other phrase. He's not down here, though. You'd think he'd be down by now because it's been many decades that he's passed away. But he's not here. I think he likes it there. That's the feeling I get. And it's funny because George Carlin is just working so hard. And Freddie Prinze is just like, hey, this is cool. I'm just going to hang out here because it's so nice and comfy. So then I'm in, Bruce Lee comes to mind, and he is here. And oh my God, is he intense. so intense. And I feel my body is like rock hard and thin. And I feel this pain in my stomach, hard. And I know Brandon Lee, his son, was shot, but I don't think this is Brandon. There's something about his stomach that hurt. But the interesting thing, this is the most interesting thing. He's still angry. And I'm like, why are you so angry? You know, when you pass on, you go to another plane, you let go of that ego and the human thing, and you don't worry about all the stuff you're worried about, right? Like Freddie Prinze. George Carlin's another one. I think he's coming back down to kind of touch on some of, I think he's kind of floating around there. Maybe you'll run into him at the grocery store. But this guy, he has not left. Bruce Lee has not left. And he's very angry. And I said, well, why? And he's like, there's more to know and to do. Something about how he died. He's wanting to reconcile something or finish off, close it off. There's something that people don't know about how he died. He's like, there's secrets or hidden info. He said, I can't go until I heal this part, until this ends. And golly, he's been dead now, what is it, 40 years or 35 years or something? So he's been hanging around until that gets solved, to whatever it was. And I don't remember how he died. I thought it was an accident. But he's like, I can't let go till something important to him is found. And I'm picturing like a house, and I saw a basement with boxes and, you know, like cardboard boxes and papers, like in somebody's estate, like some old man died and his daughter or whoever's just got boxes in the basement. They don't even want to deal with them. They're there. I have no idea what this is and what he's wanting this information to be out about. Maybe you guys know. I have no idea. But it's lost. Whatever this information is, he said, I'll leave. What does that mean? But I'm still connected. Oh, if they don't find it. That's what I was asking him. If they don't find it, he said, I'll leave, but I'll still be connected somehow. I don't get it. He's not, and I asked him about politics. He said, no, I don't care about any of that. He doesn't even, nothing. He didn't even have an opinion to offer. But the funny thing is he loved Canada. I don't know why or when he would have been here. I feel like he came from China, came to the US. I have no idea where he lived. But he says he loved Canada because it was quiet and peaceful, and it reminded him of areas of China or Hong Kong or something. I don't know. He must have had a nice time here at one point. But he loved it. Yeah, and then Brandon was just there. He wasn't like connected to him at all, Bruce, his father. He was doing this kind of, I don't know if you guys know that, I'm not going to do it because it would be embarrassing, where he's like, you know, like rappers kind of bend over and they're rapping and they're hunched over and they're doing these motions. He was doing that, like he's walking across a stage doing that. And that was it. He really didn't have anything to do with his father, really, because I think Bruce is down here dealing with everything, or trying to. He's in it, you know, on a different level. But yeah, it was very, very interesting. I'm not sure. Brandon has been gone now, 15 years maybe, or 20? I don't know if he's back yet. I'm not sure. I can't kind of connect with that, which is very interesting. So anywho, that's it. Hope you guys found that interesting. If you did, please subscribe, like, share, comment, all of the YouTubey things. And until next time, take care.